Welcome everyone to the Simpson Storm Coaches Show. I'm Zach Jevney, and today we're joined again by head cross-country coach Brad Hofer. The Storm competed at the Iowa Conference Championships this past weekend, where both teams finished sixth. Coach Hofer, thanks again for stopping by.
You're welcome.
Now let's start with the women's side of things for this weekend's conference race. It was a tough week for both the team and for top runner Katie Ellington. Why don't you talk a little bit about her race and the team leading up to that week?
Well, obviously, a lot of people around the conference had heard and knew going into the race. Katie's mom had lost a tough battle with ovarian cancer Thursday night going into our conference meet, and we weren't sure whether we were going to have her or not. Her family and her mom were really wanting her to race, and she was going to race for her mother's memory as well. Just shows how tough of a competitor she is. She came up the night before with her dad. And came to be there for her family and for the team, and ended up getting second at the conference meet, which is a fantastic finish. She just shows the type of competitor she is, and that with that family atmosphere on our team and the support of her family that wanted her to run, she really laid it out there and did a great job for us.
And do you think that kind of filtered through the rest of the team as well, and of her focus and desire to be there for the team?
For sure. We use that as motivation for the entire team, to understand that her mom had been battling cancer for a couple years, that we needed to battle for that half hour, for that race distance is kind of how we termed it. And something that a lot of us have to go through in life, but it's never the same for each person. But we really use that as motivation, and she showed her strength, and the rest of the team really did take that and use that to their advantage.
Now, how would you assess your team, the women's team's performance then on Saturday?
I thought we performed very well. As a whole, we went out there and raced very hard. Continued to show that we are mentally tough. Katie ran a great race. Some of our younger girls continued to show their improvements. Had people setting PRs about a minute better than what they ran the year before. We definitely saw the progression that we look for in our training, and it's just a great building block to continue to use to step forward.
Looking at the men's side, Ryan Edwardson, strong race, finished fifth. Talk a little bit about that side.
Ryan is a great racer. I know what kind of effort I'm going to get from him every time he lays it out there. Whether he takes care of himself outside of the running aspects and gets the sleep he needs and do those type of things, that's normally what holds him back. This has been the healthiest season that he's had, and I knew that he was one of the best runners in the conference, and I'm just excited for him that he was able to go out there and really show that.
Now you've got a week off leading up to regionals. How are you going to go about practice for this week?
With this week off, we're going to go ahead and still have some tougher practices in there and make sure that we keep our bodies used to that race type effort. But yet we are going to be tapering down just a little bit, if you will, making sure that the volume comes down just a little bit, and that we're keeping the fatigue out of our practices.
Normally everybody runs at these meets. At regionals now, just going to have 7 runners. How are you going to go about deciding who runs and who are you going to put in for the regional lineup?
That's always the toughest part of the season. I get to be the bad guy as a head coach sometimes, but I be as objective as I can and make sure that there's no favoritism. But what I do is, especially on the girls' side, there was quite a few runners that had jumped around in that top 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 type range. And so what I do is I look at each meet throughout the season. I look at the entire body of work, and then go through. And of course, obviously, it's very important to see who's competing well at the end of the season going into that championship type of meet. And so, going into that's very challenging. But I definitely look at each runner, and I make sure that between me and my assistant coach, we talk about and choose the runners that we think will best represent Simpson College at the regional championships.
So is the men's or women's team going to be tougher to set?
The women's team, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, good luck. In a couple weeks, we'll talk to you after that. The Storm are off this week and will compete at regionals in Waverly on November 13th with nationals to follow the week after. Thanks again for watching the Simpson Storm Coaches Show.